Alright, so Alex Karp was recently awarded the Business Executive of the Year from BENS, or the Business Executives for National Security. So this was geared more towards Palantir's contributions to the national security of the West, and for all of his efforts in the defense end of the business. So without wasting any more of your time, let's jump right into this.
I'm. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, that's very, very cool.
Okay, we'll get out of your way.
I am, first of all, to begin with the end of the speech, I'm impossibly honored to be awarded an award that really no one could live up to. First of all, you have my co-recipient, who is, when I meet people around the country and in private, you say, well, there's always discussion, who do you respect most in government? And it's kind of an inside joke. We all start with, who do you respect second most? We all have the same person, obviously, on the list. And it's, I don't think anyone in this room needs me to say this tremendously talented force for good and a rare treasure in our government, and maybe, honestly, a source of pain that I hope your future is bright. And then you have Eisenhower. He, son of a Mennonite, a religious German minority, came to America, Allied commander, president of Columbia, when our values were in question, integrated schools with force, became arguably one of the most successful presidents. And then you have the obvious fact that I'm a civilian and I've never served and not put myself in harm's way, and no civilian really earns an award that you who've served deserve. So it's an interesting place to be awarded an award that you could not possibly have earned. And I asked myself, then how or why I'm here? And truth is, when I got this email saying I'd won this award, I kind of turned the page. Not exactly. It's like, well, it's kind of, I'm used to getting awards I might not actually want, or maybe I deserved. There's this famous Groucho Marx thing, I would never join a club that had me as a member. What about getting an award that you possibly could never have deserved to get? I'm deeply honored, and I'm a little bit under the weather, and I'm legitimately an introvert, and I would have used any excuse and any other award in the world I would have canceled and sent in a video, but I didn't think I could do that. And I always think there's a lot of things, and I want to get to couple of my favorite riffs, most of which have gotten me pilloried or attacked in public, that I'm proud of. And but I would say that for me, there's always these memories you have as a young adult or as an adult. And my first, I think these memories actually in my life have played a big role. The first memory is not that related to this, but it did affect building the business, which was, I remember as sitting there thinking, I'm massively dyslexic, and how can I escape my dyslexia? And if I could, I would be very successful. And that worked out. And then my one of my other formative memories, I did a PhD, and I had this office, and basically I got a job in Germany, which is nearly impossible. And I was like the re-immigrated immigrant, so I had like 8 jobs. And when anything had to happen, I did all of it. So I wrote the papers, I wrote everything. I was the only one honestly working. So in the place I worked, the Sigmund Freud Institute, there were these double doors and a red light, and they told you when you started the Sigmund Freud, you can literally do anything and you'll never be fired, but you can never go in the room when the doors closed and the red lights on. And they were a little graphic about all the things you could do and nothing would happen to you. I won't go into that civilized audience. And I sat there, and it's almost all my reading. Unfortunately, since I've been building Palantir, I'm reading less. And I sat there and I thought about a lot of things. And one of the things I thought about the most was, why did young men from Iowa and Kansas risk their lives, knowing they could die, to free Europe and to free people like me? And so moving. And I think about those people a lot. Of course, at the time, it was mostly young men. Now it's men and women. You know, I built products I'm proud of, actually changed the course of history by stopping terror attacks and augmenting civil liberties, and has protected our men and women on the battlefield. And also have taken the lives of our enemies, and I don't think that's something to be ashamed of. I always think when you build a business, and I'm very proud of our business, and I'm very proud of Palantirians, and they may actually deserve this award. You think about these people, they're going out and they're married and they have kids and they're going into battle and they may not come home. And you just, it's like, yeah, I'm building a business. And I'm very proud of it. And we have, especially currently on the battlefield, the central advantage the U.S. has is software-empowered hardware systems and software. And I'm proud that Palantir's been at the forefront of them. I'm also proud that we've dragged and kicked and cajoled and humiliated and many people in the corporate world to participate. And now there's a tech ecosystem, and we were at the beginning, to use the language of Palantirians, we are the OG, and very proud of that. But we are not the people who, like people in this room, who are going out and know they may not come home. And that's a very special thing, and I'm proud to support you. Very proud. And I would tell you that pride seeps into a lot of things, and part of the reason we're doing so well in commercial is we are very aligned with the people we serve. But it also, quite frankly, seeps into a lot of the positions that we take internally and externally. I was the first CEO to go to Ukraine. We do not believe in appeasement. We've publicly stood up for Israel. I often find that some people want to appease in Europe, some people want to appease in Tehran, and it doesn't work. One of the things I've been yelled at currently for is, particularly in what they call themselves progressive. I actually am a progressive. I want less war. You only stop war by having the best technology and by scaring the bejeebers, I'm trying to be nice here, out of our adversaries. If they are not scared, they don't wake up scared, they don't go to bed scared, they don't fear that the wrath of America will come down on them, they will attack us. They will attack us everywhere. And the idea that is being purveyed at our elite institutions by once progressive, now conformist purveyors of what I call a thin religion. And it's religious in the sense that every failure proves that it could succeed if you only try it again. And it's not going to work. And we in the corporate world must stand up to this. We must stand up to this. This is not a sideshow. If we do not win the battle of ideas and reassert basic norms and the basic obvious idea that America is a noble, great, wonderful aspiration of a dream that we are blessed to be a part of, we will have a much, much worse world for all of us, including And, and on a final note, for reasons that are impossible for people to explain outside of America, we are blessed with a tech ecosystem that is rivaled by none. And a government, Doug Beck is here, and others, that is beginning to accelerate and embrace technology. Our adversaries, Americans often underestimate how good we are at software and AI, but our adversaries do not. Palantir has no adversarial competition in software, in managing software, and AI WIM systems, or anything like that. And we have to double down on these things. There's like something like 86% adjusted by market cap percent of the top 50 tech companies in the world are American. And we just have to take our advantages and double and triple down on them, and fight for that, and fight to integrate these technologies, invest in the things that we are better at. Don't compete with your adversary, use technologies and you're at your advantage to beat them without entering a useless competition. And then again, last not least, we in the corporate world have to grow a spine. It's interesting, in private people agree, and it's easy. Eisenhower's also president of Columbia. It's a long way, and it's easy to blame the students, but then no one stands up and says, well, this is idiotic and wrong. And so with that, a quote from Eisenhower, the history, he said, of free men, we'll say free people, is never really written by chance, but by choice, their choice. And it's our choice. I'm honored that I was part of this choice. I'm honored to be in front of this room. It's one of, if not the greatest honor that and I accept the award for Palantirians who co-built the company with me, and obviously, as I mentioned, in a modest role vis-a-vis the people here who really deserve these awards. And thank you for your time, and thank you for honoring me.